Your feelings are real, but they're not always facts. I had to learn this the hard way. See, emotions are powerful. They color everything: how we see people, how we interpret moments, how we react. But emotional maturity, it's not about suppressing those emotions. It's about understanding them and choosing not to be ruled by them. I remember once watching an animated movie called Green Lantern Emerald Nights. It had these short stories within it, little lessons wrapped in cosmic light and heroism. The first story really stuck with me. It was about the very first Green Lantern. You see, the first person to receive the ring wasn't actually the first Green Lantern. That title belonged to one who truly understood what the ring represented. Because the ring, that glowing symbol of power, wasn't the source of strength. The will of the user was. That story hit me deeply because it mirrored what I'd been learning about emotions. Our emotions are real, yes. They're the ring, the energy, the reaction, the fire. But they're not the source of our strength. Our will is. Our ability to feel everything and still choose who we want to be in that moment. That's emotional maturity. Emotions are tricky. They demand to be felt. They'll knock on your door, sometimes softly, sometimes like a storm breaking down the walls. And emotional maturity doesn't mean pretending they're not there. It means opening the door, inviting them in, and saying, I see you. Sit down. Let's talk. But here's the crucial part. After you've listened to what the emotion has to say, you remember that you decide how the story ends. Anger can walk in, but you decide whether it stays for tea or burns the house down. Fear can whisper its doubts, but you decide whether to listen or to move anyway. Sadness can visit, but you decide whether it becomes your home or just passes through. That's the quiet strength of emotional maturity. Not the absence of feeling, but the presence of choice. Here's a few things life taught me about it. Emotional maturity begins with acknowledgement. You can't heal what you refuse to feel. When something hurts, name it. When something excites you, honor it. Don't run from your heart. It's trying to teach you something. But acknowledgement isn't surrender. Feeling angry doesn't mean you have to lash out. Feeling anxious doesn't mean you have to run. The space between your emotion and your reaction, the tiny pause, is where your power lives. Your will is your steering wheel. You might not control the weather, but you control the ship. And sometimes steering through the storm builds you more than the calm ever could. Growth often means emotional humility. To admit I'm hurt or I overreacted doesn't make you weak, it makes you wise. The immature needs to win arguments. The mature want to understand themselves. Peace isn't the lack of emotion. It's when joy and sorrow, love and fear all coexist, and you're still centered enough to choose kindness. The older I get, the more I realize how often we confuse maturity with control. People think being emotionally strong means you never cry, you never lose your temper, never waver. But that's not strength, that's suppression. True strength is being honest with yourself and disciplined with your response. It's saying, I feel angry, but I won't let anger define what comes next. That's what separates impulse from wisdom. When I look back on different difficult chapters of my life, I noticed something. Every time I chose understanding over reaction, I grew. Every time I paused before speaking, I learned. Every time I allowed myself to feel, but not to drown, I became freer. If you're listening to this and you've been feeling overwhelmed, maybe life's been throwing you waves faster than you can catch your breath. Remember this: emotional maturity isn't about being calm all the time. It's about remembering that you are the ocean, not the waves. The waves rise and fall, but the ocean remains. It's just like that green lantern. The ring might glow with emotion, anger, fear, grief, but the light only shines because of your will to stay kind, your will to stay honest, your will to stay grounded, even when it hurts. That's the part no one can give you or take from you. So, the next time a strong emotion hits, don't fight it and don't feed it. Acknowledge it. Breathe. Ask yourself, what is this trying to teach me? Then choose your next step with intention. That's what emotional maturity actually looks like. Now, I'd love to hear from you. What's one emotion you've learned to manage differently as you've grown? Share it in the comments. Not to prove you've got it all figured out, but to remind others that growth is a lifelong conversation. And if this spoke to you, follow for more reflections like this. Little reminders that wisdom isn't born in silence, but in the spaces between emotion and understanding.